Hello and welcome to the Brazilian BA Guest. We are doing videos every week about business analysis, and at this time we have a special group of videos targeting on presenters of the BBC, the Building Business Capability Conference, the greatest business analysis conference that's going to happen in June at Florida. And for today, I have two presenters of the BBC to be my guest and answer a nice question. They are Wright and Paddy Dhanda. Hello, folks. Thank you for coming.
Hi, Fabrizio.
Hey,
Thank you for having us.
It's
Fabrizio, you actually said my name just like a Punjabi person would say my surname, so that was very good.
Yeah, probably the Portuguese accent helping me.
Yeah, there you go. A bit of Punjabiness, I think. Some Punjabi blood in you.
Probably. I have to work more on Grant's name than your name, Paddy. Probably. So my question for you today is related to your presentation at BBC. My question is, can any BA, any business analyst do sketchnoting?
Ooh.
Shall I start, Paddy?
Yeah, go for it.
So I think the first thing there that I picked up on was sketchnoting. So I think there's sketchnoting and then there's the wider term visual thinking. And I think a lot of what Paddy and I do, we look at visual thinking holistically. So sketchnoting, my perspective on it, is sketchnoting is where you're acting as a visual reporter. You're making sense of a talk or a training course or something for your own benefit, and you create a sketch note as an output to record that, or maybe an experience that you've been on, something like that. So it's almost like you're recording the outcome of an event. Whereas I think visual thinking more broadly has other facets. So our friends at Bureau Brand, who are the authors of the visual thinking book, they talk about 5 visual thinking types. And our talk that we're going to do at the conference is going to kind of explore those different visual thinking types as part of the story we're going to tell at the conference. So as well as the visual reporter that we've talked about, there's the visual designer using visuals to create an output that's visually appealing and creates engagement. There's the visual storyteller, which is about using visuals to literally tell a story, whether you're trying to win hearts and minds of people, those kind of things. There's the visual co-creator, where you're kind of collaborating with others and using visuals to help kind of in that co-creation space. And there's the visual analyst, which is where you're using visual thinking to just make sense of things for yourself, really, and connect the dots and understand complexity. So when you ask the term, can BAs kind of sketch note, I'd say they can, but I think if the question was, can they use visual thinking more broadly, I think the answer's absolutely. There's lots of ways in which you could apply it.
Yes, but absolutely. For sketchnoting, what you said, Paddy, and so I understood from the Brent's answer that any BA can use visual thinking as a tool, and that makes a lot of sense. But sketchnoting specifically, is that for anyone, or you must have some kind of superpowers to do that?
I think sketchnoting, I mean, it depends. If you want to make beautiful visuals, right, then that comes with practice. And I would say some of the things that I've seen some of the amazing people out there produce, like even I shy away from doing some of that to that level, because I'm thinking that requires loads of practice, and to do it live as well in the moment can be quite challenging. But I think, we all at some point, when we're taking notes, we'll draw a diagram. And so in a way that's sketchnoting as well, because what we're using there is visual techniques to help complement the message that we're trying to capture. And so that's really what sketchnoting is all about. It's about using visuals and the writing. And the idea there is, there's lots of theories out there, but there's dual coding theory, which talks all about, for us to remember things, we're really good at remembering things if we've written them down and we have some visual to back them up with, because we embed that knowledge into channels within our brain. And then when we recall information, it's much easier for us to recall it, as opposed to us just writing things down. So sketchnoting can be really useful for remembering things in the future and making sense of what you heard. But then actually producing the sketch notes, it's like with anything, it's a step-by-step process. But Grant and I always say, if you can write, you can draw. And so if you just follow some of those basic techniques, yeah, there will come a point where, you know, people do get confident enough to be able to do sketchnoting, I think.
Can we do some exercises so you can prove me your theory?
Yeah,
Sure.
let's do it.
All right, so let's put our desks here. I will just arrange it. This is mine.
Sure. So one exercise that we love to do when we hear that people say they can't draw, they don't think they can draw. One of our favorite exercises to run is Squiggle birds. So we're going to have a go at Squiggle birds now, because it's really good at showing that anybody can draw. Okay, so to do Squiggle birds, we just need to draw some squiggles, random squiggles on a page. Okay, so I'm going to use a different coloured pen here just to kind of so you can see what I'm doing. But we're going to turn these squiggles into birds. Choose somewhere that looks like it might be a good place to have the bird's head, and create a little beak with just a little triangle, a line through it. I'm going to add the dot for the eye. I'm going to add some feet to my bird, just classic crow's feet like that. And then some kind of tail. Could be a simple triangle. I'm going to go for something like this. And we've just created a squiggle bird. So whatever kind of tail you want. There you go. Paddy, you've almost created a squiggle peacock there or something.
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay, so that's the exercise. So we just need to fill in our squiggle birds in about a minute and see what we come up with.
All right,
let's go.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
The one in the top right there, Fabrizio, that you've done.
This one?
Beak or something. Yeah.
Yes, I thought about my parrot.
You have a parrot?
Yes, I do. Yes.
You do?
Does it speak Portuguese?
It sings.
Yes. Oh, wow.
It's a she, and she sings Portuguese, so some basic music and stuff like that, and makes a lot of noise. And if she's here with us in this meeting, nobody talks, just her. She's very loud.
Oh,
awesome stuff. And Paddy, what have you come with us for here then?
Oh gosh, mine are all over the place. But I think what I like to do with this activity is actually try to put the beak in lots of different kind of angles on each one.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
interesting.
Like this one here, although, you know, looking at it now, it looks like it's almost the bird's falling, whereas the other ones maybe look like they're just sitting. This one looks like it's flying this way. So I think just experimenting, even with simple things like just you know, putting the beak and things in different places can really change the whole perspective of the squiggle.
Cool. And what about yours, Greg?
Oh, go on. So most of mine, I do tend to just find the obvious shape that feels like it could be the head, but then this one was so I'd already used the space, so I went for the bird bending down, and then this one I don't know, this shape here made me think, oh, maybe it's more like a flamingo style bird. I don't know, so I went for that. So yeah. But like exactly like Paddy, it's just seeing what's there and just seeing what thought it triggers. But I think what this does is it proves that, you know, we've all been able to draw what can be recognized as birds. You know, we can show these pictures to somebody and they'd say, yeah, I can see what that is. And we've done that from a few squiggles. It's because our brains are kind of pattern making machines. You know, we don't have to see the full visual, the full picture to make the connection and the meaning from the image. And when we're drawing in a business context and we're trying to make sense of problems in that context, it's not about the artwork. It's about drawing things that are good enough to be recognized, to have meaning, to be able to express and share an understanding of something. I mean, obviously, you can learn techniques to kind of help you get better at articulating yourself visually, but the principle is, you know, you can get there with actually quite a low amount of effort. You can do quite a lot.
And I mean,
it activates other parts of our brain. If you're just talking about a bird eating a verb or a worm or something like that, is something when you see that, it makes you think more clearly. It helps you to think about stuff.
And the interesting thing is, although we drew birds, I mean, we could turn these into people, right? So it doesn't have to be birds. I'm pretty sure, like if you added a few human features, someone would recognize that it looks more human than you know, just a squiggle. So when people say, "Oh, I draw stick people," or "I'm, you know, not very good at drawing," well, even with a squiggle, you can actually make it look like a person. So it's just about having fun with it. And so what if, you know, it doesn't quite have the dimensions of a realistic person? The bottom line is, as long as someone can recognize that it looks human, then that's the main thing.
Could we test this? Like try to squiggle some people doing actual work?
Yeah, we could try. Yeah.
So I probably took more time than a minute, but right.
Who's
Let
going
me to
first?
start
Go on,
to
we're gonna have a look at
just
these.
start commenting. Oh, those are so nice.
Yeah,
Oh.
go on, Grant. Let's go with yours first.
Go first, Grant. Oh, you have Superman.
Yeah, that one was just like an upward spiral that made me think of that trajectory, and so I just extended it. The praying and the fishing ones, I almost saw the shape of the body in the squiggles already, so I just kind of added where I wanted to put the head and decorated it a bit. I had no idea on the one on the right. I just drew this big block thing, and then I thought of a big block person, but I don't know what that's trying to be.
That looks like a robot to me, like almost robotic.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
A strong guy.
Yeah, could have done that. But it's interesting what shape you use starts to convey meaning, doesn't it? Drawing quite square, solid shapes changes your visual. If you draw triangles, they're more dynamic, action-based. If you draw circles or ovals, they're softer. So yeah, you can start to do quite a lot with just simple shapes.
It enhances your creativity because you started from some different perspectives and start creating something.
Yeah,
very nice.
Exactly.
Very nice. What about yours, Paddy?
Oh, mine. Yeah, I try to keep it quite simple. So I just did a sort of a squiggly thing upwards, and then yeah, like the head. You know, if you want to avoid drawing little features like the eyes and the nose, because sometimes they don't always add anything new to the picture, right? Because if I had an expression on this face, like I still know he's running, right? Even without the gestures on the face. So unless we're trying to depict emotion, we don't really need any eyes or nose or mouth or anything. So I just went with a kind of a squiggle for the head, and yeah, just try to do different movements of jumping, falling, and I'm not sure what this guy was, but I thought I turned him into someone who's doing
That's
a bit of a
good.
handstand.
Making it, oh, very nice, and it's very nice how you really create some movement with very few lines, just small lines, and you create a movement, and we can see the guy in movement. Really nice. I try to inspire myself from the sketches. Let me put my arm here. The first one is walking, and I try to always find the face, and I use the eyes to find the person, and I like it very much how you did, Betty, in saying that that's not exactly necessary, but I try to put some expression, like this one is working on his notebook, this one is falling, and probably saying or something like that. This one is pushing the wall here. I saw these two circles here, and I almost
Love it.
saw someone riding a bike, and this squeeze like here, I saw, oh, this looked like a hair, a nice hair. So she's brushing his long hairs. That was the idea.
I really like the way you've expanded it to beyond just the person. So you've actually added other almost accessories, right? Like the bike. I really like the hair one. I was watching what you're doing with that one when you're drawing it. I was like, where's he going to go with this?
Where's he going with this? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was doing the same question while drawing.
But it's great to watch you and see like where you started and then how it's evolved. And absolutely, I think anyone looking at that can see it's more of a female character with long hair, you know, someone who's very proud of their hair, probably flicking it back. So yeah, and you know, like a lot of the time people do get a little bit carried away with visuals. You know, what we find is when people start drawing, they're like, oh yeah, I can now do everything visually. But actually, sometimes having the words helps cement the message, right? So words are still powerful and still useful. And you know, like we were talking about there, you were saying the one in the top right is falling down. They're going like that. If you decided not to include the expression, you could just have the lettering going like that next to it. So straight away, someone knows that person looks like they're they're out of control. So the words can also bring the message across.
That's
the
here. Right.
But it's that dual coding theory that Paddy mentioned again. If you add words to complement your visuals, you're tapping into both sides of the brain, but also you're cementing and bringing clarity. So I think like exactly like Paddy said, a lot of people think, oh, I'm practicing visual thinking, I've got to draw everything. Well, you don't. It's perfectly okay to write words and to give clarity. You know, it wouldn't be obvious that my person in the bottom left here was praying unless I labelled that, I think. But as soon as I've labelled it, I think you can get it. You can see what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's also visual, right? Words are visual as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you write them down. Yeah. Very nice, very nice. I know that you're doing at BBC a presentation talking about the 5 visual thinking types that Grant mentioned at the beginning, but you are also conducting a workshop there. And the workshop is about the sketchy business analysts. Why should people go to be there, and what are you guys going to present at this workshop at the pre-conference?
We've got a few surprises, and if anyone saw a recent LinkedIn post that we posted where I was talking about Bhangra, and if anyone doesn't know what Bhangra is, it's a form of Indian dance. So if anyone knows Grant and I, we like to have fun and we like to make things engaging. So even though the session will be very hands-on, very practical about visual thinking, we're going to have fun with it. So if you like fun and you want something a little bit different, not just a typical talk, then yeah, we would love for you to come. And it is going to be very much aimed at anyone who is new to visual thinking, perhaps feels they can't draw, wants to build that confidence. And I believe by the end of the session, people will walk away a little bit more confident and happier, and that's the aim, I think. And Grant, I don't know if you want to add anything else to that.
No, I think that's fine. I think for the workshop, that's exactly the aim, just to give people a taste and to demonstrate what they've got within them, really. And the talk that we're giving is actually, I guess, us trying to take this beyond just here's how you can draw some interesting visuals, but how can you actually use that? And we're doing a talk where we tell a story about a business analyst who's turned product owner and progressing their career, and how they leverage different types of visual thinking on their journey. And we bring it back to those 5 visual thinking types that we talked about at the beginning.
And you get to watch Grant doing some Bhangra dancing. Now that's priceless. So be sure to be there for that.
I'm not sure anybody's agreed to that, but that's...
All right. Thank you very much for being here today. I'm super excited to be at BBC and to meet you guys in person finally. It's going to be epic.